We're constantly taught to give, to care, to be there for others. But did you know that there are some things you absolutely don't owe anyone? From emotional labor to constant validation, today we're exploring 10 powerful things that will free you from guilt and help you reclaim your time, energy, and peace. Keep watching. You do not owe anyone constant access to your emotions or emotional support, especially if it drains you. Emotional availability is important in relationships, but it must be reciprocal and sustainable. Constant emotional labor can lead to burnout, and it's important to protect your own emotional well-being. Research in psychology shows that people who constantly provide emotional support without reciprocity are at higher risk to feel energetically drained and emotional exhaustion. Protecting your emotional well-being through sustainable support practices is essential for balanced relationships. It's essential to prioritize your own mental health and establish boundaries about when and how much emotional support you can offer. You are not required to seek or provide validation for others' opinions, feelings, or choices. Everyone is entitled to their own perspective, but you are not responsible for validating it. Seeking constant external validation can lead to insecurity and a loss of self-identity. Research has found that people who rely on external validation often struggle with self-esteem. When you constantly seek approval from others, it can actually lower your self-worth over time. Studies have found that those who rely on external validation often struggle with a stable sense of identity. Learning to value your own perspective over external approval can strengthen your self-worth. You can offer support without feeling obligated to affirm others' choices, especially if it doesn't align with your values or understanding. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your choices, boundaries, or changes in your life if you don't feel comfortable sharing. Personal decisions, especially those regarding boundaries or life changes, are private matters. You have the right to make decisions based on your own needs and values, and you should not feel pressured to justify them to others. Did you know research shows that people who prioritize their personal values in decision-making often experience increased resilience and a stronger sense of purpose? It's a reminder that staying true to yourself has lasting benefits. While forgiveness can be healing, you don't owe it to someone, especially if the hurt is too deep or unaddressed. It's widely accepted that forgiveness can be a powerful and healing tool. Forgiving someone can help release feelings of anger, spite, or pain, which can promote emotional and psychological healing. However, this process is deeply personal and can vary depending on the individual and the situation. People are not required to forgive if they feel that it would undermine their emotional well-being or if they haven't processed their hurt. Psychologists such as Dr. Janice Abrams-Spring emphasize that forgiveness is a deeply personal choice. In her book, How Can I Forgive You?, she explains that forgiveness should only occur if it supports your healing journey, not because of outside pressure. In some cases, forgiveness might not even be appropriate, especially when it would allow the other person to avoid accountability for their actions. From a mental health perspective, it's important to recognize that forgiveness is not something that can or should be rushed. If the hurt is deep, if someone has not taken responsibility for their actions, or if forgiving would force you to ignore your own needs or boundaries, it can be healthy to choose not to forgive right away. Giving yourself the space to grieve and heal is just as important as finding peace through forgiveness. You don't owe anyone the right to cross your boundaries just to make them feel more comfortable. Healthy boundaries are essential for protecting your emotional and physical well-being. Psychologists agree that having healthy boundaries is crucial for maintaining mental health. In fact, people who struggle to set boundaries often face higher levels of emotional fatigue. Studies in psychology confirm that maintaining healthy boundaries is crucial for mental health and well-being, as boundary setting reduces emotional exhaustion and feel depleted. Boundaries are a cornerstone of psychological self-care. While it's natural to want to please others, compromising your boundaries to accommodate someone else's comfort can lead to resentment, burnout, and a loss of self-respect. You are not obligated to give your time, energy, or presence to others, especially if it comes at the expense of your own well-being. You have the right to prioritize your needs and well-being, and overextending yourself can lead to emotional exhaustion. People who fail to protect their time and energy are more likely to experience stress overload, irritability, and difficulty focusing. Research shows that setting personal boundaries around time is essential for preventing mental fatigue and supporting mental health. Learning to say no and prioritize your own needs is vital for maintaining your physical and emotional health. It's important to set aside time for self-care and not feel guilty about it. Your well-being must come first for you to be able to give to others sustainably. Healing and personal growth are deeply personal processes, and they unfold at their own pace. Did you know? Studies show that people who allow themselves to heal at their own pace often experience more lasting and meaningful growth. And did you know? Post-traumatic growth studies reveal that pacing oneself in healing nurtures authentic and sustainable recovery, as opposed to feeling pressured to meet others' expectations. Rushing the process can increase stress and hinder emotional recovery, so trusting your journey truly makes a difference. You don't owe anyone an apology or an explanation for your mental health challenges. Mental health is deeply personal, and everyone copes in ways that feel right for them. Mental health professionals emphasize that coping mechanisms are unique to each individual, and there's no obligation to justify your journey to others. While it's normal to find comfort in various coping mechanisms, some can impact well-being or healing. Recognizing what truly supports your mental health can be an empowering step toward growth, without the pressure to justify your process to others. You don't owe others the sacrifice of your happiness or peace of mind to meet their needs or expectations. Self-sacrifice at the expense of your own well-being can lead to resentment, emotional fatigue, and emotional exhaustion. Prioritizing your own happiness and peace is essential for long-term well-being. Research on relationships shows that when people sacrifice their well-being to meet others' needs, it often leads to emotional depletion and discontent. Healthy relationships rely on mutual respect rather than one-sided sacrifice. While it's natural to care for others, it should not come at the cost of your own mental health. You don't owe anyone constant availability via texts, calls, or social media. You're allowed to take time for yourself. Everyone needs space and time away from constant communication to recharge and maintain healthy boundaries. Constant digital connectivity can be overwhelming and draining. Studies on digital communication reveal that constant availability can lead to digital burnout, underscoring the importance of setting communication boundaries to maintain mental well-being. It's important to set boundaries around communication and give yourself the space you need to rest and engage in self-care. You are not obligated to be available 24/7. Protecting your well-being isn't selfish, it's essential. Every time you say no to something that drains you, you're saying yes to a life that honors your peace and growth. Imagine a life where your energy, time, and happiness are prioritized, where you're free from the weight of expectations that aren't yours to carry. Research shows that setting boundaries not only protects your well-being, but also nurtures healthier, more fulfilling relationships by creating balanced support and mutual respect. The next time someone asks for more than you're able to give, gently ask yourself, am I willing to give this, or am I sacrificing a part of myself? Empower yourself to live with boundaries that protect your peace and open up space for the life you truly deserve.